Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gavinski's Tutorials. Today I'm going to do a little walkthrough and give some tips about using Fauve by K-Devices. I've really been enjoying this. So here in this first example, I'm doing a couple of things. One is just using it to add a bit of, variety or unpredictability to pads, add a bit of glitchiness. But what I'm also doing is using an envelope follower. So I've got FAC Envolver here. I've done a video on this. If you search Envolver Gavinski, you'll find it. We're super useful. Love using envelope followers. So if we go back to Fauve, you can see here this repeat knob is being modulated by that envelope follower. So what that is doing, in effect, is if you look at how this is moving, see when it gets quiet, the value on the repeat knob is going up. So what that's doing is if there's a quiet part of the audio, like when the pad's fading out, for example, we start to get these repeats. So we're getting repeats more on the tails. When there's loud audio, we're not getting so much likelihood of repeats, right? So, obviously, envelope followers, LFOs as well, but this is a nice little trick with envelope followers. Now, obviously as well, we can get in here. For example, right now I've got the rate of this set at normal, but we can pitch everything up, right? And I could, for example, with this monitor here, turn this up. Now we've just got glitchiness. But with this mirage set to half here, we've also got silences. So I can bring this all the way up. If I want. So I'd like to just first do a very quick overview of Fauve. So I did a walkthrough on this on my Patreon, by the way, when it came out. So here we've just opened up a new instance, got an init patch, and don't hear all that much going on. So first thing we could do, let's bring this mirage level all the way up. So now we'll just have processed audio. Now let's try first see what this length knob does. So if I bring that all the way down, we get something that's kind of noisy and not all that nice, maybe. There I've turned the rate knob up to pitch it up. So let's put the length up a little bit. So here, this 99, what that means is it will record 99 wave sets. So to understand how Fauve works and how it's different from a granular processor, let's say you've got a granular and you've set your length of grains to, say, 0.1 milliseconds, right? That could end up chopping that audio anywhere in the waveform, but Fauve is only chopping at 0 crossings. So, like if you picture a sine wave, you have an upwards hill and then you have a downwards hill, for example, it will chop that upwards hill chunk, and that's one wave, basically. And then it'll chop the downwards one if that comes after, and then that's your second wave. So here we're setting the number of these waves that it can put in its buffer. And we can also change that behavior here. So with this first one, we've got no minimum length requirement to make a collection. A collection is just a word the app uses for groups of these different wave sets. This one here, this will set a minimum length of 25. So even if I have the length set to 1 here, if I have this on, we won't get very small, noisy wave sets like we can get here. Or noisy collections, I should say, maybe. This one here, this will put a 50 milliseconds minimum. And this one here, let's put that rate up just so you hear it more clearly. This one here, we've got 100 milliseconds minimum length. But now if I bring the length up here, it's going to depend on the audio we put in. But now we're going to start getting longer collections. Each collection will be longer. Stuck. So here it might not record new collections all the time. So play around with this in length and you can get very interesting effects. Let's bring stuck down for a minute. Let's just leave length kind of long like that. So disorder, this one is going to shuffle the playback of these collections. So if you have disorder down on melodic material, it's going to basically keep the melody. It'll be a little bit glitchy, but it's not going to take a chunk of your melody from, say, I don't know, a few seconds ago and suddenly play that. No. But if we bring disorder all the way up, now it's going to play back in a very random kind of order. So we're totally losing the melody here, which you may want at times. We can put an envelope on things here. We got repeat. And we can press freeze. That's the same as having repeat all the way up. Again, rate here. And absence, this knob can go in two directions. If we go to the right, we'll get complete audio dropouts from time to time. So it'll be at the normal level or it'll be at, 0 level. But if we go here, bring this down this way, now we can get random lowerings of volume. So it won't be just 0 or the normal level. It'll be anything in between the normal level and this level. I generally tend to use it to the right more. Now if you put that all the way over, you'll get silence. So Mirage, this is just, if we put this all the way down, we're not getting any processing. If we put this up, then half the time we'll get processing, half the time we won't. You have some choices here about whether it's going to work stereo or mono. Here, this one, if you have this all the way down or all the way up, this won't make any difference. What this is doing is smoothing the transitions between the processed and the non-processed audio. You hear now the changes are choppier. Let's bring the length down so you hear that a bit more. Okay, you hear how choppy that is? Let's bring smooth up. Right? Lean is cool. So here we're putting all the Mirage effect will be heard on the right ear. Here it'll all go to the left. Put it here, it's going to have a 50-50 chance of where it's being distributed. And here, put this all the way to the left and we only hear source audio. So if Mirage is halfway up, you're only going to hear source audio about half the time. Same if we put this over here, we're only going to hear processed audio, but we're also going to have silences. So if I put this all the way to the right and I don't want silences, then I have to put Mirage all the way to the right as well. Okay, here we can freeze, the buffer, so we can stop putting input audio into it and we'll still get sound. Okay, so let's move on to the next example. So listen to the input audio here.
The moon's reflection, a pathway on the water's surface. Good evening.
So this is a really nice way to...
Ready to embrace the night.
do kind of like micro-looped random playback of audio.
Imagine now that you're
So for this, let's understand the disorder knob a little bit better here.
The moon a pathway on the waters. Good evening. As you settle into your comfort
So you see, you can basically
ready to
understand
embrace
pretty easily what he's saying here because we've got no disorder up.
Instead
There's
of
also
descend
no
and
stuck
float.
value.
Imagine now that gently lying
And we've got a little bit of
ocean,
repeating.
the night sky twinkling above.
But if I bring disorder up,
the night say the moon's
you can hear now that's much harder to hear what's going on because it's taking
to embrace your night
different parts of the buffer. It's jumping around between these different parts and playing them back in random order.
That you're descending will instantly lying on a sky twinkles. The moon lying on a sling above.
You know, it might seem a bit similar to a granular effect, but really if you go and try, I don't know, you know, Silo or Weeping Wall or whatever, you won't get this kind of sound.
Let's eat on a unique bark.
Next example. So I find it's really cool to take a sample, let's say.
Come on and wake up, everybody.
Right, and process that through Fauve.
Come on and
Okay, and then record that into a sampler like a koala, for example. Record that in there and then chop it up. So we have different bits on different pads. You know, you can use the auto chopping or do it manually or whatever. And then play these back and, you know, get this sort of Prefuse 73 type thing. Super nice. Next. So this example is looking at using multiple instances and playing around with the freeze function on the repeat section. So see here this input audio. It's a nice harp line. You'll find an affiliate link for Pianoteq, by the way, in the pinned comment of this video, guys. Great way to support me at no cost to you. So here, let's now feed this into these. I'm going to take this off so we're not getting any of the original audio anymore. And so you can see here, I've played around and set up 3 different instances, and we can play around with their lengths and so on, all these different settings. And you can see this is frozen here. But what's really nice is unfreeze it and get something new in and then freeze it again. And we could play around with stuff like the rate. So get a few of these going. It'd be nice to map this freeze or a few other things to a MIDI controller, for example. And just build up this sort of evolving minimalist looping patch. So I've really been enjoying playing around with this. I think it's really cool that it does the zero crossing thing. So you're not getting that kind of clickiness that you get with granular. Now, I do love that as well. I'm not saying that this would replace granular things for me, but it's a lovely addition. And there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. Been really enjoying this one. I definitely think it's one of my favorite apps of the year. If you like tips and tricks videos, guys, I've got loads of exclusive videos on Patreon, including various tips and tricks videos. There's about 80 exclusive videos on my Patreon, by the way, and there are 65 paying patrons at the moment, so big, massive thanks to all of those guys. And if you're a fan of this channel and would miss it if it wasn't here, please consider joining them. You'll find the link for Patreon and other ways to support me in the pinned comment of this video. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.